This is Brachot Perek Bet, Mishna Dalid. Ha'umanin, craftsmen, workers, korin berosh ha'ilan o berosh hanidbach. These workers are allowed to read the Shema while they're on top of a tree, in a tree, or on a wall, a nidbach, a wall or a pile of bricks. These workers are not required to come down in order to fulfill the mitzvah of Shema. They are able to read on the top, and even though it's difficult to have proper kavanah on the tree or on the wall or on the pile of rocks, nevertheless, since Shema is sufficiently short, they're considered able to have sufficient kavanah for Shema. Here the halacha is also being very sensitive to the time of the worker or the person that the worker is working for, that he's not allowed to, or he's not required or allowed to stop working for any more than the bare minimum necessary for the mitzvah of Shema. For Shema, they're able to read on they're able to have enough kavanah on the tree or on the wall. Ma'she'enan rishon la'asod kein b'tefillah. Unlike tefillah, which is longer and requires more kavanah, or for a longer period of time, these workers are required to come down, even though they're on the time of their balabayit. They're required to come down and take the time out for davening, and to put themselves in a situation where they're able to have proper kavanah for davening. Perek Bet Mishna Hey. Chatan patur mekriyat Shema b'layla harishon ad motzai Shabbat imlo asa ma'aseh. The groom is exempt from reading Kriyat Shema on the first night of his wedding until Motzai Shabbat, which means that the minhag was for most people to get married on Wednesday, and therefore the presumption is 4 nights. The first 4 nights he would be patur from Kriyat Shema, because it would be difficult to have proper kavanah. This Mishnah is somewhat of a continuation of the previous Mishnah, which deals with kavanah and what circumstances are considered to be adequate for kavanah for Kriyat Shema. A chatan is so unable to say Kriyat Shema that he is therefore exempt from the mitzvah of Kriyat Shema for 4 nights, imlo asa ma'aseh, if he has not yet had relations with his wife, because then his mind is so preoccupied that it will be difficult to have kavanah. After 4 nights, whether or not they had relations for the first time, he would be chayav to say Shema, because he would be able to resume to his normal state of kavanah. Then the Mishnah quotes a story. Masekhet BRakhot. There was a story where Rabbi Gamliel, Shekara b'layla harishon shenasa. Rabbi Gamliel read Shema on the first night after he got married. Amru lo talmida, of his students who saw him, I presume, in the shul or Beit Midrash, davening Ma'ariv and saying Shema, asked, Limadatanu Rabbeinu, didn't you yourself teach us? Shechatan patur mekriyat Shema. You taught us that a chatan is patur from Kriyat Shema. Here you're a chatan, and you said Kriyat Shema. Amar lahem, he told them, Eini shomea lachem, levatel mimeni malchut shamayim afilu sha'achat. I can't listen to you to neglect the Shema, which is Kabbalat o Malchut Shamayim, even for 1 moment. I just cannot stop saying Shema, even for this one time. Presumably the story highlights 2 points. First of all, the importance of Kriyat Shema, of Kabbalat o Malchut Shamayim, but also seems to say that there's somewhat of a subjective nature to this halacha, that there can be an exception to this rule, and it might depend somewhat on circumstance, which is what the Mishnah is highlighting by quoting the story. Interestingly, the accepted halacha nowadays is that a chatan would always say Kriyat Shema, because even though he's somewhat preoccupied, we consider a chatan to be able to have the same level of kavanah that he normally has, and therefore he's chayav on that night. This is somewhat highlighted in this story.